Hey guys, what's crackin'? Godsman here, coming at you with another top 10 list. Today we'll be embarking on a top 10 journey through the nefarious Dark Zone, home of demons, ogres, and other denizens of the dark. And to kick things off, we'll be taking a look at one of the most infamous clans in all of Cray, the true to their name, Dark Irregular clan. Releasing all the way back in BTO3 Demonic Lord Invasion, the Dark Irregular clan is a long-standing member of the game, and a fan favorite one at that. Whether you're a fan of psychics, vampires, gothic whores, demons, or succubi, lots of those for sure, Dark Irregular has a lot on offer, cause as I'll say many times in this video, Dark Irregular is a hell of a clan. First played by Team EL4's Tetsu Shinjo and later branch manager Satoru Nishi, Dark Irregular is often presented as a menacing deck often utilized by powerful yet conflicted or misunderstood characters, which ties back to the thematic premise of Dark Irregulars being a band of beings often shunned due to their unique natures. Make no mistake though, Dark Irregular is an incredibly vicious clan, with the lack of a hierarchy resulting in countless acts of murder, torture, and experimentation among the power-hungry Irregulars. Dark Irregular is a hell of a clan. So what do these freaks even do? Well, in a nutshell, Dark Irregulars harness the power of the soul to unlock devastating abilities to overwhelm the opponent. In other words, it's a ramp deck, and it's a very good one. The potency of this ramp depends on two basic factors: how worthwhile is the win condition, and how easy is it to achieve said win condition. In the beginning, DIs had pretty okay win conditions, but were fairly difficult to achieve, making the clan kind of not worth it. But as we entered the G era and beyond, the bosses became more powerful and the conditions became easier to achieve, thus making Dark Irregular oh so very worth it in later years. TLDR, it's a clan whose singular purpose is to churn out one game-ending effect after the other. And it's precisely because of that this video is going to be such a rough one to make, because there are just so many viable cards to look over for the list. And to clarify, as always, this list is going to be examining the impact the unit had, so it examines the power of the card in the context of when it was relevant, how long it's been relevant, why it was relevant in the first place, so on and so forth. So we ain't going to be comparing the raw strengths of these cards, as that's not the whole story. Though, considering that literally every single card on this list topped multiple events, you'll find there'd be no shortage of power in today's episode. And before we get into the list proper, if you're looking for more Vanguard content like this, then definitely subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I intend to complete the top 10s for every clan, so if there's a clan that you like that I haven't done yet, then you'll want to turn on that bell so you don't miss out when I upload. Now without further ado, let's begin. I hope you enjoy. Alright, so I'm going to give a couple quick honorable mentions here. Didn't do it for the last couple videos, but DI is just so jam-packed with crazy cards to talk about that I thought it was warranted in this case. Just going to go through these real quickly. First up, we have Still Vampir. Still was the first win condition Dark Irregular ever received and is perhaps the most iconic Mega Blast unit to date. The card represents the final work of veteran artist Toyo Ashida, the author of Vampire Hunter D, prior to his death on July 23, 2011. Rest in peace. Not only was it his last card, this is the only Vanguard card ever drawn by him, so there's a lot of lore to this unit. Also, it's the only pre-G card we'll be talking about today, so yeah, that should say something. The other honorable mention is Number of Terror. Why yes, that is a card with only rearguard and guardian skills, which is the reason it's not on the list, as unlike Mizukage in the Nubatama video, this guy wasn't the winning image of his deck. Still, the Pot of Greed skill that also had a built-in soul increase and the extra power and shield on the side made this guy a hell of a rearguard. It paired super well with Shadowverse in particular, who could restand it, and also worked well with Enigmatic Assassin in premium decks. Just an absolute unit of supporting grade 3, but not quite fit to be a proper boss unit. Although, do keep that in mind, because there may or may not be a rearguard boss in Dark Irregular that makes the list. Alright, time for the main list proper. Starting us off at number 10 is One Who Hunts Souls, Balaam. This stride unit released in GPT-14 Divine Dragon Apocrypha, the main last set in G, and did so with these skills. First off, act on the Vanguard circle once per turn, counterblast 1, and flip up another Balaam in the G zone. Choose one of your opponent's rearguards, retire it, and this unit gets the power of that unit and drive +1. You may then soul charge 2 for each face-up card in your G zone. Then second skill, continuous in the Vanguard circle, Generation Break 3, Darkness. Note by the way that Darkness is the key word of DI and is active as long as you put a card into the soul that turn. It's rather redundant. I mean, it's one of those keywords that just tells you to do the thing that you always do with the clan anyway, but I mean, heck, it just makes this skill easier to obtain, right? Speaking of, the skill is, if the number of cards in your soul is 13 or more, your opponent cannot call grade 1 cards from hand to Guardian Circle. Guard Restrict, Retire, Quad Drive, Soul Charging like crazy. Balaam was one of the most insane strides released in GZ, just short of Shiranui Rene and Chronovisor Heritage. This thing was one of the cards that made GZDI a potential contender at the end of GZ, and it's just at number 10, dude. A turn-wide Guard Restrict against grade 1s may not have aged super well, but at the time, it was absolutely bonkers back when Sentinels were, in fact, grade 1. Oh, and not only that, the practically free drive and spot removal allowed it to be the clan's best first or second stride for quite some time. Only downside is that because this card was released at the end of an era, it didn't have that much time to shine on its own, but would score multiple Springfest tops in 2018 prior to the V-Series reboot. And it would also see play in most G zones for Dark Irregular from its release until the modern day, as it is completely generic to boot. So yeah, we're off to a great start. At number 9 is the clan's G-Boot representative, Scharhrot Vampir. Yeah, dude, so their GZ Stride and their G-Boot bosses both barely made this list. Dark Irregular is a hell of a clan. Releasing in VBT 09, Scharhrot Vampir wields these two skills. First off, Auto on the Vanguard Circle. At the beginning of your battle phase, all of your front row units get power plus 1000 until end of turn for each card in your soul. Secondly, Auto on the Vanguard Circle. When it attacks, counterblast 1 and stand one of your front row rear guards. However, if your soul has 13 or more cards, you stand 2 rear guards instead. The infamous G-Boot era of V-Series came hard and fast for most decks. Scharhrot here was an excellent example of a deck really good on release, but tragically falling behind as the outrageous power creep raged on. It was only released in set 9 after all, with the G-Boot era not ending until after set 12. Scharhrot still leads the way as the best V-Premium Dark Irregular deck, like most G-Boot decks are for their V-clans, though it's a bit complicated for a deck like Dark Irregular. A so-called Mordred clone, its effects scaled well for powering up and restanding your front row, with the main catch being how well it could abuse certain rear guards like a Number of Terror or Hope on Damp. Released in 2020, Scharhrot tragically did not have much time to shine as there was no official events at that time. In fact, about a month later, Luard would start his rampage in the meta as VBT 10 was right after VBT 9, go figure, and Scharhrot would barely see the light of day at that point until the reboot had already occurred. It would see some success in V Premium, of course, scoring 2 top 8s at BCS Duelith in 2022 and 1 top 8 at BCS Austria in 2023. A strong unit to be sure, and it could viciously beat down the opponent, but it's often held up by its synergy with other units. See, sometimes it came after a setup turn with V-Series Ammon, sometimes it paired up with Hope on Damp during its turn, or sometimes it would pave the way for cards like Gastille to finish the job. It's overall both a strong standalone unit and a solid piece of the larger puzzle. Oh, and speak of the devil, because at number 8, we actually have the V-Series retrain of Evil God Bishop Gastille. We were just talking about you, babe. This crazy son of a gun came out in V-Clan Collection Volume 1 with this bonker skill. Yeah, singular skill. Keep that in mind. Auto on the Vanguard Circle. At the beginning of your battle phase, counterblast 1, draw a card, and your opponent chooses one of the following effects for every 5 cards in your soul. You perform the chosen effects in any order. Each effect only be chosen once. Effect 1. All of your front row units get critical +1 until end of turn. Effect 2. Your opponent's Vanguard's power increases or decreases to 1 until end of turn. Effect 3. All of your opponent's auto abilities do not activate until end of turn. Effect 4. Your opponent chooses a card from his or her hand and puts it into his or her damage zone face down. Yep, that is certainly one skill. And it's pretty effing ridiculous, dude. I mean, this guy has effectively 4 different win conditions rolled into one, and you can use them all at the same time. Dark Irregular is a hell of a clan, man. Oh, but it doesn't have the protector markers, so clearly it's balanced, right? So yeah, Gastille really illustrates how gnarly this can gets when you get to the higher soul ranges. Once you reach 20 cards, if this is your Vanguard, your opponent is probably going to be found dead in the ditch or something the next day. Like many boss units for this clan, turboing this win condition became the main focus for decks that use this card, which would be a good few of them because why not? It's just that strong. Gastille's big competitive accomplishments are actually much fewer than some of the other cards in this list, but it was known for being a part of the Daimonas deck in the 2021 Bushiroad Springfest Online event. Scoring 2 top 8 finishes and a 3rd place across the AO and EU regions, considered one of the worst premium formats due to rampant loops, this deck is actually a pretty solid accomplishment that way. However, he was carried pretty hard by another card later on this list. Still, it's got one of the strongest win conditions in the Dark Irregular playbook and is the 2nd best way to win with 20 soul. Yeah, Second. We'll talk about that later though. Putting aside that lovely bit of foreshadowing for now, at lucky number 7 we have another stride for you. This time it's Ultimate Deep Hades Emperor, Forfax. Releasing in P-Clan Collection Volume 1, Forfax strode in with these skills. Auto in the G-Zone. At the end of the battle, your Grade 3 Vanguard attacks your opponent's Grade 3 or greater Vanguard. If your Vanguard is Grade 3 and your soul has 13 or more cards, Counterblast 1. Discard 5 from hand and strike this unit face down on your Vanguard circle as stand. Then, secondly, Auto. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, if your deck has 13 or less cards, choose up to 3 critical triggers from the soul, return to the deck, and shuffle. Yep, that sure is a stride that drops mid-battle for an extra attack, and does some Resile-style critical recursion just to make the triple drive especially menacing. In the aftermath of the 2021 Premium Slaughter list, DI was in search of its next premium stride of choice. The 2022 Premium Collection would provide just that. Forfax could be paired with basically every V-Series DI boss due to allowing you the ability to stride during the battle phase, making it count among the number of uber-powerful V+ strides. This allows the previously mentioned Gastille to work with it, or another infamous Grade 3 later on this list. Forfax was the offensive extender the clan needed to make a comeback in Premium, and it shows in the competitive results, having scored 8 BCS tops since its release and even a first place victory at BCS Rosemont in 2023, holy cow, Forfax definitely helped keep this deck a threat in the premium circuit. From one stride to another, we've got Wings of Annihilation, Bladewing Tibold. Releasing in Winter Collection 2015, Tibold came with a singular powerful skill, Auto. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, if you have a hard card with Bladewing in its card name, return all the cards from your drop zone to your deck, I did not stutter, and shuffle the deck. Then, if the number of cards in your soul is 15 or more, until end of turn, this unit gets continuous in the Vanguard circle. All of your rear guards in the front row get 10,000 power, and if not, soul charge 5. Oh, and this would be a good time to bring up another card here, which is Bladewing Sullivan, as it's pretty integral to understanding the impact of Tibold. So Sullivan was a Grade 3 main deck unit with this skill. Continues in the Vanguard circle. If the number of cards in your soul is 15 or more, this unit gets continuous in the Vanguard circle. All of your guardians get shield plus 10,000, and auto the Vanguard circle. At the end of the battle, this unit was attacked, Soul Blast 2. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, choose one of your rear guards, search your deck for up to 3 cards with the same card name as that unit, put in the soul, and shuffle the deck. So this spot could kind of go to Sullivan, as that card was the key ride necessary to keep the deck alive, but Tibold served more overall functions, each one being just as integral to the larger picture. Anyway, fun fact, did you know that Bladewings are the first DI archetype to have any real success? And I mean real success, like topping BCSs and stuff. Yeah, it took DI this long to get there, but once it did, it was off to the races from there on out. Still, that already makes the strategy quite impactful as it is, giving an actual win condition to the clan and the best anti-deck out tool ever printed on a card, except maybe Dreaming Dragon. Oh, and a whopping Soul Charge 5 in case you were lagging behind. This card was basically perfect. With this in mind, it should not be a surprise to you that these two cards made their way into different decks, even outside of its own theme, to have access to this. Just ride Sullivan and boom, you had the best boss this clan had ever known up to that point right there in your pocket. It would sporadically see play even in premium MLK decks as far out as 2018, albeit it wasn't the strongest option in the G-Zone by that point, but more on that later. Bladewings would only have minor success in late 2016 and early 17, but would have a much bigger breakout in the 2017 BCS season as it got more tools at its disposal, ultimately scoring 3 top 4s at 3 different BCS events. Overall, just a super potent card that finally put Dark Irregulars on the map with its powerful cycle of effects. Alrighty, time for the big 5, and first up is actually a V original unit, that being Demonic Deep Phantasm Emperor Brufas. Releasing in the infamous VBT06 set, aka Phantasmal Steed Restoration, Brufas joined the fray with these skills. First off is an act on the Vanguard circle once per turn. You counterblast 1. To look at your deck, search for up to 3 cards with the same card name as a card from your soul. You add 1 to the hand and put the rest of the reveal cards to the soul and shuffle. Then auto on the Vanguard circle. When it attacks, if your soul has 2 or more grade 3 cards, you choose one of your or your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and this unit gets that unit's power and critical until the end of that battle. Now, despite releasing in one of the more notorious V sets, Brufas had a much bigger impact on the premium format rather than its own home format, as is the case for a lot of VI bosses. In fact, that's a theme that this has been creeping up throughout the list and will cement itself with the final entries. Dark Irregular is effectively a premium clan. Now, back to Brufas. The ability to search virtually anything from your deck as long as one copy existed in the soul, while deck thinning potentially 1 to 2 normal units, is pretty crazy. It went super hard in premium. The biggest impact of Brufas was its inclusion, giving those Gastille Daimonas decks, remember that name by the way, will become relevant later, the final push they needed to break through the Ezo Katrina meta of 2019. It was the perfect partner in time to Gastille Daimonas, and they synergized in every way possible, so much so that it felt intentional on Bushiroad's part. The introduction of Brufas led it to claim a grand total of 10 premium event tops. It even snagged 2 first place finishes at BCS Cologne and California in 2019. It was admittedly carried by a lot of other cards working together with it, but make no mistake, Brufas was a particularly precious cog in the machine. And just the icing on top, Brufas paired with NOK, which would actually score a 3rd place finish at BCS Texas in 2019 for, get this, V standard. Yeah, who would have thought? Pretty solid card all around, he takes 5th. Okay, so I know we've gone over some pretty crazy DI cards so far, but let's also acknowledge the clan has some downsides, right? Mainly it's the risk of deck out from rampant soul charging, and also losing out on so many of those precious trigger units while doing so. But you know, that's good. Every clan should have downsides that hold them back and create pro-con decision trees for... Oh. Well, that's fair. At number 4 is One Who Splits Darkness, Bledermaus. Releasing in GBT11, Bledermaus was the capstone boss for Dark Irregular in the glorious G-Next era, and rightfully though with these skills. So auto on the Vanguard circle once per turn. Generation Break 2, Darkness. Counterblast 1. Choose a face-down card with the same name as this unit from the G-Zone, turn it face up, choose 2 cards from your hand, and put them in the soul. When this unit attacks, if the number of cards in your soul is 10 or more, you may pay the cost. If you do, return all grade 0 cards from your rear circle and soul to your deck, shuffle your deck, choose 2 of your units, and they get power up plus 5,000 until end of turn. At the end of that battle, stand this unit and get Strive -2. Well, it wouldn't be Dark Irregular without a ridiculous final boss unit, right? And a man after my own heart, a Bledermaus a day keeps the deck out of the way, and this one is completely generic. It gives Vanguard multi-attack, while powering up your cards, and simultaneously decompressing your triggers back into the deck. Yeah, remember Tibold at 6th place? Good times. Needless to say, Bledermaus became an absolute staple in the clan from the moment it was released until the modern day. You will find nobody here, whether it's in premium or G Dark Irregular, not playing this card if they could. It's just a no-brainer. Remember how I said Bladewing scored a few big tops in the 2017 BCS circuit after it got more tools? Well, you better believe Bledermaus was one such tool. Hell, he was the biggest one at that alongside Were Tiger Jaeger, as evident by that giant scythe he has. Neat. But in addition to those, he would also score 4 more event tops in pure darkness decks that same year. Of course, the topping doesn't stop there for this card, as it found its way into basically every winning list the clan has ever had since. Okay, so as we enter the top 3, I'm just going to keep it 100 with y'all. These top 3 spots are low-key interchangeable. You can throw them in any order that you want. All 3 of these cards are so mind-bogglingly out of this world and completely warped the clan to degrees that are insane, but also similarly insane that you could place them in any direction. So I just went with my best judgment on this one, and I will provide reasons as to why I chose to organize these the way that I did. Now, taking the bronze is another V original unit, which had big implications for both the V and premium formats. I know. Shocker. This time it's a card I alluded to earlier, Hope on Damp. Releasing in VBT06 alongside Brufas, this card had one singular skill. Auto on the Vanguard circle / Rearguard circle. When placed, if your soul has 20 or more cards until end of turn, when your opponent would call from hand to Guardian circle, he or she must call cards with a total original shield of 20,000 at the same time. Among the cards in V-Series, this card's design rates a solid, perfect 10 out of 10 on the Affront to Mankind meter. If you find a Hope on Damp in your deck or trade binder, the CDC recommends burning it on the spot and applying antibacterial spray to whatever surface it has come into contact with. Hope on Damps are generally docile, but will become extremely aggressive if they reach 20 soul, so approach with caution. Okay, nah, but seriously, Hope on Damp represents a lot of what Dark Irregular had become as a result of V-Series. Pick a win condition and turbo set win condition. An incredible tool that attempts to prevent your opponent from playing the game pretty much. Hope on Damp hitting the field was basically GG, as the absurd shield restriction, which was also absurdly easy to misinterpret mind you, because, I mean, it's one kind of effect, made guarding virtually impossible. Perhaps the biggest advantage of Hope on Damp is that it can be played as a rear guard, meaning that you can throw this sucker down alongside whatever nonsense you had on the Vanguard circle. This makes Dampy Boy a whole new level of generic. I mean, imagine playing this down next to a 20 soul Gastille. How could the opponent survive that? Oh wait, they don't. Since this card's release, Hope on Damp has found its way into the vast majority of topping Dark Irregular lists. Some would even argue that this card is the current win condition for the clan as a whole in the premium format. It's also the biggest contributor to Scharhrot Vampir's success in V Premium, as multi-attack under Hope on Damp's guard restrict is just too cruel, dude. Carrying the clan on its back in both formats, Hope on Damp will always be remembered as a very unfun card. Please burn this thing. At second place is, without debate, one of the most powerful strides ever printed in the game of Vanguard, Evil God Pontiff Gastille Daimonas. Releasing in Premium Collection 2019, Gastille's stride evolution wreaked absolute horrors upon the premium metagame with these skills. First off, auto on the Vanguard circle. When a card is put in your soul, all of your front row units get power plus 3000 until end of turn. Nope, that's not once per turn. Act on the Vanguard circle once per turn. Counterblast 1, turn a card from your G-Zone face up. Search your deck for up to 2 cards, put in the soul, and shuffle. This unit gets all of the abilities of the card put into your soul by this effect until end of turn. Holy mother of bad card design, Batman. Gastille was just a train wreck waiting to happen, and he didn't have to wait particularly long at that. This crap is unstoppable, dude. Like, let's put this into perspective, just how crazy this card is. So, you remember every great thing we've talked about on this list? Yeah, all those top 10 cards? Yeah, Gastille? He can use all of them. Brufas, Scharhrot, V Gastille, of course. They were all appetizing options to put into the soul. Pair that with a Hope on Damp to rear circle, and you've got game. Just like that. Seriously, Scharhrot or Gastille plus Damp are already one of the best win conditions of both V and Premium, and you mean to tell me that he could use all 3 at the same time? Bushy, come on. This isn't even a V plus stride anymore. It's a super V plus stride, the only one of its kind, of course. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because there's virtually no limit to the amount of combinations that you can achieve. Heck, even that still Vampir we talked about way back when. You want to use it? Go right on ahead. Ain't nobody stopping you from that. And let's not even talk about the power-up skill. The power-up skill that procs for every single soul charge. Powering up whatever rear cards you have, which, you know, giving cards like Number of Terror and Hope on Damp, let's be real here. Those rear guards are probably nonsense as well. It's no wonder why this and Brufas went so well together. Like, really, those 2 cards together just toolbox every card ever from your deck into your soul, and deck them so hard that it puts Vase Rogue on Fraud Alert. Dark Irregular is a hell of a clan, man. And needless to say, Daimonas would be highly successful in 2019 because, real shocker there, it has 8 total tops and 2 first place finishes. Dude was just crushing it. He even did well in the horrendous 2021 BSFO format, taking on the literal best that the clans had to offer in the history of Premium. My guy was like Godzilla trying to prove himself king of the monsters, and he might very well have succeeded. Heck, Bushiro probably agrees with this interpretation, as pretty soon afterwards they would award Gastille with his long overdue ban in Premium, in the 2021 slaughter list in fact, which is always cause for high praise in these videos, of course. We love a good old banning in top 10 vids, and thank God too, because if Gastille had lived long enough to get his hands on something like Blankmeyer, I would have an aneurysm. If you want to say Daimonas is the #1 in Dark Irregular, then go right on ahead. Like, really, go ahead, because Daimonas is flat out the strongest card in the history of Dark Irregular, bar none. But as for overall impact, he's going to have to settle for #2, because the card at #1 is, well, it's something else, dude. And at the #1 spot is the single most impactful card in Dark Irregulars, and if you haven't guessed it by now, then I'm jealous, because that actually means this is going to be a surprise for you. It's our good friend No Life King Death Anchor, a V-Series retrain to end all V-Series retrains. Death Anchor dropped in VBTO2 with these skills. Auto on the Vanguard circle. When placed, soul charge 1, and this unit gets 2k until end of turn for every card in your soul. Auto on the Vanguard circle. At the end of battle that it attacked, if you have 13 or more cards in your soul, counterblast 1 and put a card from your hand as well as 3 rear guards into the soul. Write a card from your soul as stand, and that unit gets critical +1 until end of turn. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one's hard to contest, as Death Anchor single-handedly created one of the most successful premium archetypes in the history of the game. Like, straight up. Doing precious little in V Premium, but having massive success in the premium format, Death Anchor really cemented the fact that Dark Irregular would be a premium clan for a lot of its lifetime. NOK Combo is an extremely iconic premium deck that some people still love and enjoy to this day due to its play pattern and potential for growth. With tops as recent as December of 2024 at BCS Malaysia, love it or hate it, this card is the cornerstone of everything Dark Irregular became in the premium format from the time of its release until now. The main focus of NOK Combo was abusing NOK's rewrite effect multiple times through the use of Enigmatic Assassin before writing it to quite literally any boss of your choosing from your soul. So it's also like Daimonas in that it can access virtually any boss in Dark Irregular, except the rewrite lets you gain an extra protect marker and proc any potential on riot skills of the new unit, and in the process created multiple Vanguard swings and with many attack extenders to further increase your multi-attack potential. There have been many dance partners for this card, such as Master Fifth Element, Brufas, and even D-Series' own very Barrow Magnus. Not to mention both Daimonas and Forfax would synergize incredibly with this card for added attack extension and power. This level of power defined the clan and led them down the path of continued success. No Life King would have, prepare yourself for this one, 26 premium tops and 8 first place finishes. This is more tops than some clans have seen in their entire history. Dark Irregular is a hell of a clan, and it has a storied history indeed. On release, it was considered a tier 0 deck in the premium format due to Enigmatic Assassin being at 4 copies, creating a near infinite loop of attacks with giant numbers. Luckily, this wouldn't last too long, as Ezza would catch up to it pretty shortly, and Enigmatic would ultimately end up at 1 by the start of 2019. But it certainly wasn't done there. With the release of Daimonas and Brufas, NOK quickly jumped back into action as one of the better Daimonas targets in the 2019 format. And as mentioned before, it was considered to be one of the big 3 premium decks of the format alongside Ezel and Katrina. 2021 comes around and no Daimonas? No problem. NOK would continue to top even after Daimonas was banned, like nothing ever even happened, scoring a top 8 at the EU BRO in 2021 with its new partner in crime, Master of Gravity, Beto Magnus. And with Forfax's release in 2022, the deck began its rampage again, and has not stopped since then, earning in totality 9 tops and a first place finish since then, after the banning of Daimonas. True to his name, No Life King served as the anchor for the Dark Irregular clan. It gave the clan continuous success for basically all of Premium, and brought together the various cards that made this clan so powerful, including many of the ones on this list, becoming the tie that binds this frankly over-the-top deck. With more competitive success, longevity, and generic application than most cards in fact, No Life King Death Anchor tells a tale of its clan that defines its journey of critical success. The king of the Dark Irregular in my book, and its single most impactful boss unit of all time. And that was the list. In a way, the Dark Irregular clan are the clan for a video like this one focusing on impactful boss units, because everything the deck does is for the sake of their ultra powerful Vanguards. With many effects both entirely unique and game ending, there's certainly no shortage of ways to tilt the opponent as you cackle maniacally from a nearby rooftop or something. But it wasn't always that way. Starting off as a nothing burger of a clan, it would take literal years before it finally hit big with Blade Wings, but then once it got there, it just got more and more out of hand. With all the different units that impacted the meta, the various win conditions they brought, and several trips to the ban list, the story of Dark Irregular is as rich and successful as any of the Paladin clans of Cray. It had many bad apples over the years, of course, but in a clan like Dark Irregular, being a bad apple is, well, regular. And so for the last time I'll say it, Dark Irregular is a hell of a clan. Thanks for watching. So after DI is going to be a really hard act to follow up, so why not bring the very best performers on Cray to handle the job? That's right, next up will be the sensational and enigmatic Pale Moon Circus, which promises to be just as good of a show as well, so stay tuned for that video because you won't want to miss it. In the meantime, if you have anything you liked or disliked about the list, or any ideas or suggestions for the next list, please comment down below. Trust me, I do read them. And check out my other videos. I do top 10s like this, fight nights, tier lists, anime reactions, the whole shebang. And if you like what you see, consider leaving a subscribe and turn on the notification bell for next time I upload a video. And with that said, take care and God bless.